Thank you so much for coming to this Credit Repair Masterclass. So my goal with this video is to help you get good credit faster than you ever thought possible, even if you've struggled with bad credit before. So if you watch this video all the way to the end, I'm gonna share with you 3 gifts. Now the first, I'm gonna share with you the #1 secret that the entire credit repair industry is built on. Second, I'm going to share with you how I was able to improve my credit score 84 points in just 1 month. And then third, I'm going to give you a vacation voucher to one of the top 7 vacation destinations. So a little bit about myself. Well, first of all, I grew up in poverty. I got free lunches. I grew up in the welfare system. But the one thing I had was my mom never let us feel poor. She never put her burdens upon us. She never really talked about her struggle, never even talked about finances, to be honest with you. And, so when I grew up, well, first of all, I had a job since I was like 8. I helped my brother deliver papers. We had to buy our own school supplies sometimes. We had to buy our own clothing. But like I said, that's all we knew. So I didn't know any better. I didn't know we were poor. I thought everybody had to do that. Then when I turned 15, that's when I started my first real job, whatever you want to call it. And then I turned 18 in 1999, and back in those days, everybody had good credit. I mean, they gave everybody credit. I remember seeing an ad, and it said, "Bring in your check, and we'll give you a truck." And that's literally what I did. I showed up with my check stub, and I walked out the door. I paid like $200 for taxes, and walked out the door with a brand new truck. And even then, in 2000, about a year or two later, bought my first house. And like I said, I knew nothing about credit. I just had a job and paid my bills whenever I felt like it. And during the early, my late teens and early 20s, I just managed restaurants and bars. I didn't know anything about credit. I just always had a job, so I always had money. Never really overspent or anything like that. But then right before I turned 30, I started selling insurance, and that's when I became a real adult, or whatever you want to call that. And actually what really made me become an adult faster was right before that, I actually lost 2 vehicles. One was stolen and one was just totaled. And then also another thing that happened was my credit score went from a 750 to a 550 in less than a month. And it was because I had a tax lien. Back in those days, if you had a tax lien, it could affect your credit score. And luckily, like in 2018, I think they took that away. But like I said, I went from not knowing anything about credit, but I always had good credit, to not knowing anything about credit and now having bad credit. So I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't even know what to do. I just kind of struggled with bad credit. I never had a credit card. Even when I had good credit, I never had a credit card. And if I did, it was maybe max like $1,000. I want to say 2,000, but I don't even think it was 2,000. I think the most I ever had was a $1,000 credit card. But fast forward to 2020, I saw an advertisement. I've been selling insurance for over 10 years, but I saw an advertisement to offer credit repair to your clients. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I need to get my credit fixed. This would be a good way to learn about credit. So I did it. I signed up for their service, and then I ended up having to spend about $2,000 on a website. I had to rent an office. I had to do all these things, get an LLC just to get started with them. And I was a little disappointed because I didn't know it was going to cost that much or take that much time. But, like I said, I jumped in with both feet. I watched a ton of videos and classes and certifications on credit repair. And I just started noticing they all started saying the same thing. After about 10 to 20 videos, you realize they all were just saying the same thing. And then, I was kind of disheartened by the situation. Because I just didn't feel like it was a genuine service that people needed. I mean, people do need credit repair, but what they were doing was just so simple that literally anybody could do it. And then luckily during the pandemic, when the pandemic happened, lockdown happened, my office was closed down. And so I just closed everything down. I emailed the few clients I had, and I said, hey guys, I'm closing down shop. I apologize. And I only had a few paying customers anyway, so it didn't really matter. And one of them was my cousin. So I was just like, hey, I'm sorry. She's like, yeah, it's fine. And so, So yeah, I just like I said, I just felt like I didn't feel comfortable charging people for credit repair when it was something that they could easily do themselves. They could Google the information, but there's just so much bad information out there. I was just very disappointed in the credit repair industry because there is a lot of bad information, but I didn't have a way to be able to offer the service without charging because I didn't have a way to do it for free. So if that makes sense. But one of the things I learned about just with selling insurance and the credit repair industry is if you look at anything you want out of life, this coin symbolizes anything you want out of life. So there's really three things to it. First of all, it's the value. This happens to be worth a quarter. There's a value to anything, whether it's good credit, good health, good relationships. Everything has a value. So everything has a risk and a reward too. So for instance, this has a heads and a tails. So everything you want has a risk and a reward to it. So if you just simplify life of what you want as a risk and reward, am I willing to pay the risk for the reward? Or am I willing to, do I value this enough to do it? You can really achieve anything you want. So the next thing I want to talk about is the 3 levels of commitment. And the reason I'm talking about this is to kind of help build up everything you need to know for your credit repair to fix your own credit. There's really 3 levels of commitment. Most people have level of commitment of if it's convenient. I just came back from the gym a little bit ago, and most people will go to the gym if it's convenient. If it's too cold or if it's rainy, they may not even just go to the gym. Or if they don't have, clean clothes or whatever, or, if they're on a diet, if somebody offers them a burger instead of their salad, they're going to get a burger. That's me. That's typically what I do. But that's how most people are about a lot of stuff, whether it's finances, relationships. The next level is if they're convinced. So for instance, same thing with the gym analogy. Most people, they're convinced that going to the gym is important. So they'll plan around it, they'll reschedule around it, they'll make it a priority. And then the third level is if they're convicted. And there are so few people that are convicted about anything, whether it's finances, relationships, even health. Most people are not convicted at the gym, and that's why a lot of people don't see results. Even like I said, for myself, I'm not convicted of going to the gym. I have zero desire to be a competitive bodybuilder. I feel like I'm in really good shape, so I'm convinced, but I'm not convicted. And that's how most people are about their finances too. They'll pay their bills if it's convenient. And most of them are convinced, but very few people are convicted, meaning they won't go out and find a second job just to pay down their credit or, do other things that just are outside of that level of their comfort zone. So I want to help you get more, hopefully convinced, but hopefully convicted on fixing your credit. So I want you to get a blank piece of paper, okay? And on the left-hand side, about 1 inch down, I want you to just draw a line, okay? So just do this, it's very simple. And what I want you to do on the left-hand side of the paper, first I want you to talk about your background, similar to what I did, and just put notes if you need to. Write it on the back because we're going to need the rest of the space for later on. But just write down a little bit about your background, why you have bad credit. Is it because you had a repo, or somebody crashed into your car, you didn't have insurance, or you lost your job? Anything that happened that caused you to get to where you're at, okay? Anything in your background, or you weren't, just anything that you can think of. The next thing I want you to write is your environment. What are you surrounded by? Maybe everybody around you has low income or low drive, low motivation. They're just not very convicted. That you can see that the very few of them take care of their surroundings, things like that. Then the next thing I want you to think about is something that you love, but may have caused you to have bad credit. Sometimes people will have a shopping addiction that causes them to overspend. Sometimes people will have just bad habits, whether it's drinking or or drugs or other things that they love, but it's bringing them down, causing them to not take care of their finances. And then next, I want you to write with how do you identify, meaning like I am. So I talk to people, like I said, I think I mentioned this earlier, I sell insurance. So I talk to a lot of people and they always will say, well, I am this. And it's very rarely anything positive. They'll say, oh, I'm broke, or oh, I'm not in very good shape, or how do you identify as a person? What do you say about yourself? So write that down. And guys, I forgot to mention this. Pause this video anytime. If you want to do that, go ahead and pause this video right now so you can get caught up. And then next, your education, meaning what were you taught about finances? What were you taught about credit? For most of us, very little. Like I said, I didn't know anything about my credit. Actually, until I started taking those classes in 2020, I knew very little about credit, just because it was just not one of those things I was taught. So write that down. Like I said, pause this video if you need to. And then finally write down, your family. What did your family, how are they? Like, I'm very lucky that, I come from even though we grew up poor, they're all very respectful people. My mom's a teacher, my brother's a teacher, my sister works for the government. I forget what department of the government, but and my dad, he was a very responsible person too, very loved and respected in the community. But maybe your family isn't, and that's okay. But just write all that stuff down. Write down anything about your family, any of the family dynamics. Like for instance, for me, I'm the middle child, so I kind of got ignored. They kind of forgot about me a lot of times, which I'm okay with. But that I could use that as my crutch if I wanted to. Whatever. And guys, and I know they kind of sound like excuses, and they probably will be like a third person out. But the worst part about excuses is they're true. Like they're 100% true. And if you believe your own excuses, pretty soon you'll start to defend your own excuses. So just keep that in mind. But in this part of the exercise, like I said, write it down on that left-hand side. And if you need to, follow it up with more information on the back. But go ahead and do that right now. And pause this video right now if you need to, okay? So next, right to the next of it, I want you to write down everything that you learned from those experiences. So to simplify it, on the left, you're writing the negative experiences, and on the right, you're writing all the positive you learned from it. So guys, I'm at the point in my life where I am so thankful for everything I experienced. I'm so thankful for all the setbacks I had. They taught me so many things that if I wouldn't have experienced them, I just wouldn't have learned. I wouldn't have known those things. Like I said, I didn't know anything about credit until until I had bad credit. It's kind of like your car. You don't know anything about your car until things start going wrong with it. Am I right? I mean, you ever had to? Pretty soon you start learning about the basics of car. What's the word I'm looking for? Maintenance. Because you start having to pay for things, or you start having to fix things yourself because you don't want to pay for it. So. Unfortunately, that's just how we learn sometimes, is through experience and through negative experiences, unfortunately. So write down all the negative you learned, but the positive things you learned from it, okay? And pause this video right now if you need to, so you can go ahead and do that, okay? So next, I want you to draw yourself at the top of this. So pretend like this is a mountain, and this is the mountaintop that you are. So, just think about for yourself, all the positive, all the negatives, everything that's ever happened to you. You are a full reflection of your beliefs, your thoughts, and your actions. So everything you've ever done in your life, like this is it. This is you today. Okay, so just good or bad, it's just who it is, what it is. So if you want to change your reality, you have to change your thoughts. So everything that you've learned and known until this date has got you to where you're at. And if you're happy with that, then I can't help you, unfortunately. If you're okay with having bad credit, unfortunately, nobody can help you until you're like, hey, I need to do something about this. And if you're watching this video, especially 14 and a half minutes in, you're obviously interested in getting better credit. So like I said, just think about that for right now. But like I said, we're going to move forward. Now, in the middle row, I want you to write down why you want good credit. What's the thing you want? It may be a new car, maybe a new house, it may be, to have better, cash flow, the fact that you can get a credit card without being declined. What's the thing that you want? And write that down, the thing you want, why you want it, or why you want good credit, sorry. So whatever it may be, just write down, what you want, and then next to it, write why. So if it's a car, your first response may be, well, I need a new car. Okay, well, that's fine. So write down what you want and why, why you want good credit. And then, so pause this video right now if you need to. So next, underneath that, I want you to write again why you want that thing above it. So whatever the thing you want is. So like I said, if it's and I don't want to put any thoughts in your head, any words in your head, but whatever it is of why you want it, I want you to ask yourself why again. So why is that thing important to you? Okay. And then pause this video right now if you need to. Underneath that, I want you to write why again. So your third reason why. Why is it the thing you want above it? And right now your brain might be kind of like going into panic mode, think, okay, well, I already told you why, but I want you to dig deep inside of yourself of why you want that thing. And this is like, so we're trying to get past the surface level, because we as humans, we're just taught to be surface level and to live very simple lives, but I want you to get into why. Okay, so pause this video right now if you need to. And then below that, I want you to write your fourth reason why. And guys, like I said, I know your brain might be going haywire right now. You might be getting a little emotional. You might be having to dig deep of that big, deep reason why. But just why do you want that thing above it? What is it that's driving you? What is it that's causing you to desire those things? And pause this video right now if you need to. And then and below that, I want you to write your fifth reason why. And guys, this is so important, because your fifth reason why is one of the reasons why. Some people will say go as low as 7 levels deep. Guys, it's really hard for me to get past 5 levels, especially once you've done this a couple times. Your brain just starts to jump levels sometimes. But if this is your first time doing an exercise like this, I really hope this helps you. But and I do this for a lot of stuff, and I try to do it often. If I come to a point in my life where I can't get to that next level, I'll try to ask myself the 5 whys, or I heard it called the 7 whys, or there's a bunch of other names for it. Like I don't even want to think of any off the top of my head. But right, once you get down to the real reason, the core reason, the emotional reason why, and I've heard people say, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not your why. So think about the thing that's going to drive you, that's going to convict you to finally do something about your credit. Okay, so guys, that's the secret to finding out your why. But now I want to share with you the secret to having anything that you want. Because before you can have something, you have to behave like you already have it. Now, some people will talk about fake it like you make it, or things like that. And that's true in a sense, but don't go out and buy, some people talk about going out and buying like $1,000 suit just so you feel rich, or, but you don't have to do that. You just have to feel it. You just have to feel the abundance, the sense of being, the Bible says, let the poor say that, or let the sick say that I'm strong, or the weak say I'm strong. Sorry, that's the literal version. But people have also said that let the sick say I'm healthy, let the poor say I'm rich. But the actual Bible version, when the original, and I'm going to misquote it, so I'm not going to try to say which one it is, but if you know it, put it in the captions. But yeah, the Bible does say, let the weak say I am strong. And so that's the thing, guys, is feeling that next level of belief, because in order for you to have it, you must first believe it, and then you must behave like you already have it. So now what I want you to do is for this final part, we still have this big empty space right here, and we saved it for a reason. So if you could have anything you wanted, what would you have? What would you ask for? What would you want? If you could have anything you want, what would you want? So for this exercise, I want you to close your eyes and pretend. Remember when you were a kid, it was so easy to pretend. So think about that. So close your eyes and pretend like it's already happened. And I want you to just visualize and look around. Who's there with you? Like, who are the people that came there with you? Well, first of all, what is it you want? Is it a new house? Is it a new car? What is it that you want with that good credit, better finances is going to get to you? Is it, what is it the thing that you want? So think about that. And then who's there with you? Is it your friends? Is it your family members? Is it your significant other? Who are the people around you? And then where are you? Are you in your hometown? Are you in this tropical island? Are you in this winter wonderland? Just the thing that drives you. Where are you at? What is it you want? And then so now you know the why, the when, the where, the how. And also, guys, don't think about the when. I don't want you to think about the when just yet. And in a second, I'll explain to you why. Because so many times we will say, oh, you know what, in 10 years, I'd like to retire. Or in 5 years, I'd like to save up X amount of money. So don't think about the timeline of when. Just think of like, and that's what we struggle with sometimes is we think, well, when I'm happy or when I'm rich, then I'll start saving money. And that's another mistake that people make with the when. So don't think about the when, just think about how you would feel and try to embrace that. Try to feel that. Like, what does that feel like? What does that taste like? What is that? How do you feel with all these things that you've always wished for are finally there? And write them all down. Write them all down, or draw it. Whatever you are. If you're a very artistic person, draw it. Draw that house you want. Draw that car you want. Whatever it is you want. I'm kind of a nerd. Like I said, I'm an insurance person, so I make checklists. I know that sounds really dorky, but what I'll do is I'll write all the things I want. I'll write like 20, 30, 50 things. Right now, I think my list is like 30 things I want. And as I accomplish my goals, I'll just check them off. And guys, sometimes they're small. I mean, I'm trying to think of some small ones I had, but like I wanted to buy a new phone. When I bought the new phone, I checked it off. And it also reminds you of all the things that you're accomplishing as you're, as you're moving towards your goals. So do those things. And guys, I tell you, it's going to help you out so much, so much. So next, I want to share with you the 3 gifts that'll help you act like you already have good credit and help you get good credit. So before I do that, pretend that you need to travel from Houston to Dallas. Like I live in Houston right now. So, let's pretend it's 3 people. The first guy's like, hey, well, I know we can walk it in 2 days. And you're like, oh God, that sounds horrible. Like, why would I want to walk it? That sounds so far. Like that's a lot. That's 2 days of walking. That's horrible. I don't want to do that. The second person's like, well, we can actually drive it in 4 hours. And some people speed, so maybe 3 hours. But I say 4 because I'm a slow driver. But then the third guy is like, no, we can fly it in 1 hour. So which one is right? Well, they're all 3 right. So that's what happens when people set goals based off their current level of knowing and knowledge of technology and things like that. So don't think about the when. Don't think about how fast you'll do it. Just think that it's possible. Like all things are possible to those that believe. Just think, okay, those things that I want are possible. Other people have accomplished it, so can I. So another thing that kind of helped me out one time was I just kind of imagined myself becoming that person that's already there. So just imagine the feeling of already being that person, merging who you are now with what you want, okay? So in right now you might be thinking, well, how's this going to help me build or rebuild my credit? So let's first take a look at this. Like what makes up your credit score? Well, first of all, they don't fully disclose everything, by the way, guys. So they kind of have these hidden matrix. Like I said, guys, the credit repair or the credit industry is designed to keep you broke because they want to make money off of people with bad credit because they can charge you higher interest. They can basically just take advantage of somebody that has bad credit. So if you're tired of being taken advantage of, let's fix your credit. So so think about this. So 35% of it is based on your payment history, meaning your past bills, the things that you've done in the past. The 30% of it is the amount owed. So if you owe, let's say you have a $7,000 credit card and you owe $5,000. Well, let's do simpler math. I don't want to do crazy mathematics. Let's say you have a $10,000 credit card and you owe $7,000. You're at 70%. So you really need to lower that below a third, and some people say as low as 20%. So so if you have too much owed to and people like I said, I don't want to get into the technical parts of it, but when you owe a lot of money based off of your credit power or your then it's going to mess up. And you're going to have a lower credit score. Next is the length of credit history. Same thing, guys. We can't change the past. We can't add credit history, long credit history. Luckily, that's only 15% of your credit. But the one thing you can add really quickly is new credit. So that's 10%. Because they do want you adding stuff. Sometimes people have it. Well, I've had 2 credit cards for the last 20 years and they've always been paid off. I don't understand why I don't have better credit. And like I said, sometimes just adding new credit is going to help out. And then also your credit mix, just having a good balance of all those things I just discussed. So like I said, guys, they don't really share all this information. You can Google it and there's going to be general, and even this is a general amount, but they don't, the credit reporting industries, they don't really share all this information with us because they want to keep us broke. They want to keep us charging. They want to keep charging us extra money for credit. Now, let's think about how to tie this all together. So, well, first of all, I want you to know that fixing your credit is actually the slowest way to improve your credit. So what I was telling you about earlier, the one thing that the entire credit repair industry is built on is prove it or remove it. That's where you dispute an alert on your credit, a negative item. And guys, there's so many ways to dispute it that it's not even funny. But basically you're trying to say, well, this is not true because of this. And if they're not able to prove it, then they have to delete it. And that's all the entire credit industry is built upon. Like I said, it's sad how simple it is. And guys, I know that there's good credit repair companies out there. I know there's good credit coaches, credit mentors that will teach you all these things, but a majority of them won't. That will just keep you blind because they want you to keep paying them monthly, okay? And so adding new credit is actually the fastest way to improve your credit score faster. So as I mentioned earlier, let's talk about the 3 gifts I'm going to give you. First, you're going to get access to a DIY, do-it-yourself credit repair software that allows you to dispute negative credit items in as little as 5 minutes. And guys, that's what I did. I signed up less than a month ago, and it did take me less than 5 minutes to sign up. You'll literally create an account, upload some information. They do, they do need to send like your proof of identity, like a driver's license, something like that, and then also like a bill. I think I used my my bank statement or something like that to just to verify my address. But it literally took 5 minutes to set up the account, dispute the negative items, and have them mail it off for me. I didn't want to do it myself. I didn't feel like printing it, so I just had them do it for me. I think they charged me like $6 to do that. And then you do have to pay for their monitoring service. I think it was like $24 or something like that. So I think I spent a total of like $30. But I was able to do it myself, super fast. And as I mentioned, it is the slowest way to fix your credit, but it's a very proven way to do it. And the reason it's slow is because they have to have time to approve it or remove it, and then they also sometimes will remove it and then add it back. So that's the sad truth about credit repair is sometimes you'll get something removed and they'll still put it back on there. Like I said, it is a grind, and sometimes you do have to dispute things multiple times. So that's another reason why it could take 30, 60, 90, 120 days just to get something removed. So the second tool I want to share with you is how I was able to raise my credit score 84 points. And what I did is I used the Chime Credit Builder card, and I literally just put like, I think I put like $200 out of my paycheck every 2 weeks. And I just use that for gas, for groceries, just basic stuff. And the only reason I only did 200, I don't even know I only did 200, but it was just kind of what at the time I was just kind of like, well, I'll just use that. You can obviously do more. I think you can do your whole paycheck. I don't really remember. I just, like I said, same thing. I just set it up, and I'm in my second or third month of it, and my credit scores already went up like 100 points just off of that. Because like I said, the dispute software, it hasn't even affected my credit. Haven't even received any letters from the credit repairing or the credit reporting companies yet. So like I said, it does take about 30, 60, 90 days sometimes to even hear back from them. But the third gift I'm going to give with you, and this was with no strings attached, is I'm going to give you a vacation voucher to any of the top 7 destinations. I have a partnership with a travel company. I have a couple other businesses with them, and they allow me to give these out to customers and things like that. So this is a free gift. But you do have to pay the taxes and the resort fees. Depending on which city you pick, there's different amounts, so I'm not going to say it off the top of my head because I'll probably say when the number's wrong. But like I said, there will be, and if you're not there right now, there will be a link at the bottom of this if you're not already on the webpage for you to be able to activate that. You'll just have to put your email, and then on the next page you'll put what city you want to go to. But if you have any questions, let me know. If you're on YouTube, let me know in the comments. And also if you're on the website, just go to the YouTube page and let me know in the comments if you have any questions, okay? All right, but thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope this helped you out. But all right, bye, thanks.